All here. Now we believe. Think about what I said. I will. We will. I believe. We believe. Goddamn, this is what the hell we do. Let's smoke up. Let's talk up. The Raiders goddamn way. Let's do it.
Now you have the.
You gotta love it. You gotta do it 2 or 3 times an episode, if not more. If not more. All right, let's get into the Cowboys game. Let me see. Oh, I don't have the right graph. Oh, there we go. All right, let's get it. I'll give my predictions, my storylines. Chime in the chat room below. Let me know your storylines, your matchups, your predictions as well. But let's quickly talk about this game and what it represents for the Raiders. First off, it's the second preseason game. So for all the freaking people in my previous videos, it don't matter, Mikey. It's just the preseason. It don't matter if we win or lose or Antonio Pierce calls timeouts. It don't matter, Mikey Reader. It's just the preseason. Then why the fuck are you going to watch? Why the fuck are you going to go pay money at the home stadium to watch the Raiders? And I guarantee you it's gonna be packed. Maybe not with it may not be sold out. It may be sold out by the Dallas Cowboys fans. Because we all know how that works. But the Dallas Cowboys are a failing franchise as well as of recent years. This is a huge matchup. I know it's only the preseason, Mikey Raider. It don't matter, Mikey Raider. This will build the foundation and the culture, more so than that Vikings game. A lot of fucking Raider fans, or let's call them Mexicans or Spanish people, I'm not trying to be racial, and I love them all. A lot of them are vaqueros. I grew up in L.A. Everybody thinks that every Spanish person or every person out here is a Raider fan. It's not the case. There's a lot of these damn vaqueros, these Cowboy fans out here. And they have a failing franchise as well, with basically one of the cheapest owners in the NFL. He is, Jerry Jones. All these contract situations they got going, this is a huge matchup. Even though it's the preseason, Mikey Raider. Mikey Raider, it don't matter, Mikey Raider. It's the preseason, Mikey Raider. You're stupid. It don't matter. Oh, you motherfuckers. Y'all are stupid. I mean, I even love Murph. Raiders Fan Radio. Maybe we'll talk about this on Monday. But he did a show where he talked about Antonio Pierce taking the timeouts, and he's like, it's the preseason. They really don't matter. I think he said that. So am I speaking to him? I don't know who I'm speaking to, but I'm tired of that mentality. But this is a big game, y'all. This is a big game. We're at home. This is a big game. We're at home versus the Cowboys. Big names should be involved. They're forcing Davante Adams to play. This is a big game. Again, for the quarterback battle, for the situation. So this is a huge game. But it's just the preseason, Mikey Raider. It don't matter, Mikey Raider. All right, I'm done. I'm going to stop doing that. The storylines of this game are definitely going to be the quarterback controversy. Who will start the game, Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew? Gardner Minshew has the leg up. Gardner Minshew, I believe, will start the game because Aiden O'Connell started versus the Vikings. And he didn't get that many reps because the series for the Vikings and the Raiders went really long, took a lot of time off the clock. Gardner Minshew went in right away in the second quarter for the Raiders and drove it down the field and looked more poised and more polished in Luke Getsey's system. So he definitely earned the start, according to all media reports, in this game. But it's also Antonio Pierce is just going to say it's not because he earned it. It's because Aiden O'Connell was always going to start the first game and Gardner was always going to start the second game. But let's be honest, Gardner Minshew possibly earned it a little more than AOC. But I'm still rooting for both of them. That's the storyline of this game. Who will play better? Who will look more polished? Even though Aiden O'Connell looked really decent, except for the last couple plays where he got sacked in the red zone or at goal line. He looked pretty decent. Gardner Minshew had some hiccups as well, and he looked decent. But he did the splashy plays. So, let's be honest. This game will be about the touchdowns. The quarterback battle, it'll be about the touchdowns and the splashy plays. Gardner Minshew has the possibility of starting Minshew Mania in this game. A lot of us want it. We're hoping for it. The Raiders propaganda machine or the press department will have a field day with it. Because apparently, according to Antonio Pierce, the starter will hopefully, but he said the starter will be named for the season. The starter for the season will be named after this game. So, if that's what's going to happen, who's going to be the starter? This game means a lot to Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. Who goes out there and makes plays? Who is stiff and rigid, just trying to not get sacked or not get hit? We're going to find out if AOC has a little bit of swag, because he needs to show it in this game, because Gardner Minshew has that swag, and he's already showed it in a lot of different ways, and he has the edge up. Aiden O'Connell will have to have a Derek Carr type of preseason game this week to be the starter, if they name the starter after this week. But if they both play good, Antonio Pierce and the Raiders might have another competition for the third week. And then Aiden O'Connell will have another opportunity to win the job. But I don't think that's the case. In my opinion, Aiden O'Connell has to have a game in the second quarter, and he might even play into the third. Gardner Minshew might even play a quarter and a half. And then Nathan Peterman in the middle of the third and the fourth. But they probably won't want to risk injury on their top two quarterbacks to play that long. But Aiden O'Connell might have to have a game like Derek Carr did versus the Seahawks to win the starting role. And if Gardner Minshew has that game, like Derek Carr did versus the Seahawks, then he outright wins that job this week. The matchups to watch is going to be Brock Bowers to build upon what he did last week versus the Vikings. Couple of big catches right there for Aiden O'Connell to start the game. He was his go-to. That's the matchups to watch, is Aiden O'Connell to Brock Bowers, if they can continue to build upon that chemistry. Also, can Gardner Minshew play with Brock Bowers a little bit and build that chemistry? I want to see what happens there with the tight end position and our quarterbacks. The storyline is going to be Davante Adams. How much will he play? How much won't he play? Will he be mad? Will he have hospital balls thrown his way? Will he even be targeted? Or will they just let him run around the field, knowing that they don't want to get him injured and he'll be a decoy? I think he's going to be a decoy. I think Antonio Pierce is going to play him, but he's going to be a decoy for the first series of the game. He's going to be a decoy. Because Antonio Pierce is going to respect him and not want to give him hospital balls accidentally by Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew or whatever the case may be. He doesn't want to give him hospital balls. So I think he'll be a decoy. I don't think technically he'll be targeted. But if it's Luke Getsy trying to build a chemistry, he's going to target Davante Adams in the first play, at least, with Gardner Minshew. So they can actually create Minshew Mania. So I expect the first play of the game or the second play or the first pass of the game, if it's in the first series with Gardner Minshew, if he's starting, it'll be some sort of not a trick play, but like a play to Davante Adams to gain a lot of yardage or to score a touchdown if they're in that area. And then they want to get him a touchdown in front of the audience, hype him up so he'll feel better about Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell or whoever is in there, that Davante Adams will score a big play, and it'll be a play perfectly designed and thrown and executed to Davante to get the crowd pumped up, to get Davante hyped. Then they pull him out of the game. Maybe it's a touchdown, maybe it's not, but it creates Minshew mania possibility. And it creates Davante Adams going, yeah, that was a cool moment. I'm glad I played in this preseason game. So I expect Davante Adams to be targeted real early for this drama or whatever we talked about. Now the matchups to watch are Jack Jones versus the Cowboys. Can he continue getting another interception, building off of his training camp? Jack Jones, after being called out by Antonio Pierce a week or two ago to make big plays, or he won't start. There's no guarantee he's the starter, but he's trying to play like it. Fantastic matchup. And I'll look at your guys' comments. Just give me a second. Pretty awesome, guys. I'm looking forward to the defense against the Cowboys. Are the Cowboys going to play Dak Prescott? Maybe for one series. They got no CeeDee Lamb. They're not playing their tight ends. I believe their tight ends are injured or not playing. So we got like an offense versus our pretty decent defense that we could take advantage of. And Jack Jones and the young players. And our depth is going to look better this week versus the Cowboys. It's going to look better this week versus the Cowboys because we had to face J.J. McCarthy, a decent rookie, last week. We're going to look better this week versus the Cowboys. It's going to be a fun game on defense for the Raiders. What are there other matchups we can look at? Trey Tucker, can he build upon last week? Keyshawn, I forget, is it Keon Coleman? I forgot the name. But the other wide receiver that had a good matchup for the Raiders versus the Vikings, build upon their chemistry. But the real storyline and or matchup to watch, in my opinion, learning what I learned last week about Luke Getsy and the killer instinct and Antonio Pierce taking the timeouts, or lacking the killer instinct, I should say, is the run game. Again, this is not going to be a big passing game. Even though last week was a decent one for Minshew and O'Connell. They're going to rely on the run game this week early on. They want the pass to complement the run in Luke Getsy's offense with the 12 personnel. They want the pass to complement the run. Zeus White and Madison are in a dogfight for that spot, even though we all know it's Zeus. But Dylan Lobb and Amir Abdullah, we need to see something out of them in this game. And they're going to get every opportunity. But I'm looking for Zeus White to continue 4 yards a carry average as he did last week and last year. And if we got Zeus averaging 4 yards a carry at the end of this game, pick that dude up in fantasy football in your late rounds as a possible stud running back in the late rounds in fantasy football. Pick up Zeus White. I mean, still pick up Zeus White. But if he averages, again, another 4 yards a carry after 5 or 6 carries this week, that dude has been averaging more than that his entire career so far with the Raiders. Even in preseasons and the regular season. Pick that dude up. Because you run it with him 3 times, you got a first down with a 4-yard average. Pick that dude up. Poor man's Josh Jacobs, but he'll be a good player to get on fantasy rosters early and often. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about in terms of the Dallas Cowboys versus the Raiders game. Let me see if I can get my screen up here. And if you want to support, you can let the ads play out and click on them. Oh, yeah, that's true for support. Ghost, I live in Mexico. Everyone here is a Cowboys fan, Raiders fan, or bandwagon. But it's Cowboys or Raiders. That's true. We're Mexico. I love Mexico. I love going to the strip joints in Mexico, man. Adelitas. Man, that's my place right there, Adelitas. Go to some Adelitas. Get a little bit of Adelitas for a few Adelitas. Then hopefully you go home without Adelitas. Some people know what I'm talking about. The 49-second timeout, I was like, what? Yeah, when talking about Antonio Pierce tragedy. Frost, Raiders beating Cowboys at Dallas. Thanksgiving a few years back made my turkey day. I love it when the Raiders play on Thanksgiving. I freaking love it. Ghost, the little storyline for this game is Max Crosby versus Micah Parsons. Who will have a better series? That's true. Micah Parsons is a good player. I'm going to say it's Max Crosby, man. Coming off the practices and what he wants to do in this game at home, yeah, he's pissed off. At Ghost, do you know what happened to the Pioneros in the Mexican League? Yeah, I don't know what's about that, but that's cool. Interesting stuff. I don't follow the Mexican League. I know it exists, but I don't keep up with it. What happened? Pretty sure he asked because he don't know. Haha. Regarding his question. Daniel says, gotcha. I don't know what happened. I used to follow them last season. They didn't play. I followed the Gallo Negros and Dinos last year. I got to look into some stuff. J.O., what's up? AP going to get 5 wins, fired at the end of the season. Then idiot Mark will be looking for a head coach number 10 in 14 years. Wow. Would it be number 10? That's crazy to think about. That's crazy, J.O. Tragedy, he said, these negative-ass people. I'm negative too, man. You know? Forgive us. We're jaded Raider fans sometimes. But yeah, I don't think that'll be the result, J.O. So my apologies to your thought process. We're going to get more than 7 wins this year. And we're going to have a decent shot at the playoffs, barring any really bad injuries or bad losses. And if we do lose a lot this year, we're still going to keep Antonio Pierce. The person we might not keep is Davante Adams moving forward, because then we can get a good draft pick, maybe a quarterback or some other players to build for the future in the new Raider way. So even if we only get 5 wins, Antonio Pierce will not be fired at the end of the season, unless it's an amazing shit show of everything, and I don't think it will be. But that being said, hey guys, let me know who you think wins in the Cowboys-Raiders games. Per my matchups and my predictions are going to come on screen right now. Give me your final score results in the chat room so I can read them. But here's my prediction of who wins the game. And come on, guys. We should have won last week versus the Vikings. So you know I'm all about the just win, baby. And I believe the Raiders win in this week's game. I believe the Raiders win 24-17 in a pretty decent passing game for Gardner Minshew as the possible MVP, creating Minshew mania, maybe with Davante Adams early in the game. Maybe Minshew will have a couple of touchdowns early, at least one big touchdown, and it's going to be the starter probably for the season moving forward, even though I am rooting for AOC. AOC might have another year to really officially become the starter for our team or another team next year. But I still love that AOC is a homegrown talent and he's building upon his roster. But I believe the MVP will be Minshew, and we're going to start the Minshew mania for the season. And we're going to get a lot of propaganda and T-shirts for Uncle Rico, for Farva, Uncle Rico, whatever you want to call Minshew mania. First half, Julian Rader is chiming in. He said first half 21-10 to the Raiders. I can dig that. I can dig that. Based off of what happened last week, I could dig that. That's a good prediction. 21-10 Raiders. I just rewatched last year's 3-0 loss to the Vikings game. Damn, that was a good game. That was a good game. We played them very, very good. Of course, the Raiders will win, said Dionysius. Tragedy turned triumph, said 27-17. And I'll continue looking at the scores as we move it on to the Raider Rants portion of this video. Raiders get a victory versus the Cowgirls on the second preseason game, and it starts Minshew Mania.